Thanks everyone for joining this morning's webinar. I'm really looking forward to talking to you all about unlocking communication and using TD Snap Express to simplify AAC. So before we get into the webinar, I just want to quickly introduce myself. As Shona said, my name is Dee. I'm a solutions consultant for Tobii Dynavox. I'm based in the UK and I cover the southwest of England and South Wales. And I recently was part of the TD Snap Express Welsh localization project, which means bringing TD Snap Express page set available in the Welsh language. So TD Snap, I imagine that many of you have heard of TD Snap or may have used TD Snap, but just a quick introduction. TD Snap is an augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC, platform that uses a variety of different language systems, vocabularies, or what we call page sets to meet a wide range of communication needs. And you'll hear me referring to different page sets throughout the presentation, and that's what I'm referring to. So let's talk a little bit for a second about the need for a theme-based symbol AAC vocabulary or page set. So what we heard from you is that we need a simple vocabulary that's easy and intuitive to use as a starting point for AAC. So we want it to be able to be something that supports growth in communication and language skills and feels intuitive with a simple structure and flow. Also need something to support AAC users who communicate in multiple different languages. We need something that will be able so that beginning AAC users can easily express their wants and needs. And we also want to have symbol-based page sets available in more languages. So what does this mean? It means a new page set. So TD Snap Express is a new page set, and it's a symbol-supported page set, which helps people communicate their wants and needs using theme-based phrases and words. So we'll be getting into what that all means in the rest of the session. So this is a new page set, as I mentioned. It's included in TD Snap. So if you already have TD Snap, you can find Express. So it is primarily contextually organized. So each theme contains words and phrases all related to that specific context. And the focus with this page set is on communication intent rather than on forming grammatically correct sentences using core and fringe vocabulary. And TD Snap Express is currently available in Dutch, English, Estonian, German, Slovenian, Spanish, and Welsh. And I'll be talking more about languages in a few minutes. So some ideas of who this page set may be for. It's designed to be used with both adults and children. So for example, it could be adults with an intellectual disability or with a condition that results in temporary loss of speech. It can support children, so emergent communicators, people who are having their first ever encounter with AAC and need something very simple. Could be communicators who don't speak languages that are currently supported with other TD Snap page sets, or they may be in an environment that's looking for a robust but simple solution that can be used by all of their support team really easily. Can also be useful for regions that are new to dynamic AAC solutions. So some regions around the world are newer to high-tech AAC than others. And so Express can be a simple solution to get started with. So as you can see, the theme here is really simple and easy to use to minimize that learning curve. And as I mentioned before, the vocabulary is organized by themes. So that means it's not focused on core words like our other page sets, for example, core first and motor plan. Instead, Express is structured around communication flow and typical patterns and communication intents. For example, I want to say something, I need something, I do not want something, and it's all within these concrete themes. And so this is the homepage of Express, and you can see that on the homepage, along that left side, we have this red toolbar. So the red toolbar is accessible from the homepage, and it allows the user to quickly navigate to easy functions, including chat, the keyboard, and dashboard. And the dashboard has the same kind of options in that the other TD Snap page sets have that you may be familiar with, such as the whiteboard, books and photos, and self-regulation supports. And then you can see that the rest of the page is filled with these blue buttons, which are the different themes. And you can also notice that on the right side, there is a more button. So there's a second page as well with more. And so the theme means the topic or context that you may be communicating in, and these can be personalized to meet the person's needs and interests across all ages. And the themes will contain common sentence starters, single words, and also full messages. So this is an example. This is one of the themes. So this theme is places. So you can see message builders in orange. They're words or short phrases that can be used in combination with the single words to give some flexibility around communication. And then you have your single words, which are the white buttons. And then we also have the blue buttons, which will open up additional pages. On some of the themes, there will be full phrases as well. For example, I'm hungry, or what are my choices? And so, as I had mentioned, the focus of Express is to speed up communication using this supported message building with this smaller number of buttons per page and the concrete message pathways. And if you noticed, I had just mentioned about the size of the buttons. So the grid size in this page set is fixed. So it's fixed, it's 18 buttons per page. And this allows for really simple navigation. So by having that supported message building, and then once you're in a theme, you stay there the whole time that you're communicating about it. And then, of course, within each theme, there is space for personalization as well. So you can kind of see here in this example, so you can see that once you're in a theme, they're designed so that you can express your wants and needs about that specific theme with 2 to 3 word phrases that can be composed with only 1 to 3 selections. For example, I could say, I'm thirsty. Or which is one selection, or I could say, I want food. Or I could go and say, I want, and go into breakfast and choose a breakfast food. And you can see here, all of the gray spaces are blank spaces to add your own vocabulary. So that's really important for personalization. And then when you go into the blue buttons, you've got more space in these subfolders. Now, notice once you're in one of the themes, you have these navigational arrows. So that's the colored red and green arrows. So for example, the page on the left is the first page for food and drink, but if I wanted more words, I could go and select that arrow, and then I get this second page. And then to navigate back, I simply will press the red arrow to go back. And I always have the option to go home, which will take me to my home page where I could then choose a different theme to go into. So learning different access methods may affect someone's ability to navigate within a page set. So that makes Express really efficient from a navigation perspective for users with complex access needs. So meaning that once a user is in the theme they want to communicate about, they can stay there and communicate about that without having to navigate to many different pages. So Express supports all TD-Snap supported access methods. So that includes touch, including the options for touch enter, touch exit, and auditory touch, which are kind of those touch accommodation settings. It also supports mouse dwell access. So that would include using a mouse, a joystick, a head pointer, using eye gaze, and then also switch scanning. So TD Snap Express also includes other important communication tools. So I'll go through and show you what those are now. So on this homepage, as I mentioned, you have this red toolbar, and then you have a chat function. So if you go into chat, you will find quickly accessible phrases and single words for that really quick and important communication. So these short words can be helpful in a wide range of situations. For example, stop, ask me yes or no questions, good, bad, I like, I don't like, more. And there's a second page as well. We also have access to a keyboard, and there's a couple of different options for keyboard layout. So it includes a grid matching keyboard, which what that means is the buttons in the keyboard are the same size as the buttons in the rest of the page set. So it's those large buttons you can see here. It's spread across 2 pages. It also includes an ABC layout, and you can see that there's this symbolized word prediction. And then you have the choice of also having a QWERTY layout if you would prefer that. And then if you've used the other TD Snap page sets, you will probably be familiar with the dashboard, which is a magical place where lots of different tools can be found. So that includes things like volume controls, books and photos, whiteboards, and supports for self-regulation and autonomy. And you'll see some examples of that in the next few slides. So the first thing is the whiteboard. So I can use this to draw to help support communication. So an example here, I can add an image if I wanted to using the button in the bottom right corner, and then I could say, have a picture of, I don't know, family, and I could then draw an arrow to the person that I wanted to speak to, for example. And then along the left, you can see that I can add new whiteboards, so I can have a whole list of whiteboards going on at the same time. Then next we have a script available. So this is just an example.
Hello, my name is. I use this communication device to help me communicate.
We have a visual sequence.
Turn on water. Next, put soap on hands. Then, rub hands together. Last, rinse and dry hands.
And then lastly, we have a visual timer. So you can see I pressed the visual timer button, and now I have this red line across the top, and it's set for 5 minutes. So when that 5 minutes is up, the red will be completely gone and a little alarm button will chime. I also have a books and photos template, so you can see the examples here.
I wish I had a pet. I wonder what it would be like if I had a wild animal for a pet. My friends.
And using these templates can be really helpful for creating social stories, or like, for example, putting together a photo album for a holiday, or maybe something that's really exciting that happens, and then it's really easy to be able to share that. So you probably noticed that in TD Snap Express, there's lots of symbols. It is a symbol based page set after all. So I just want to take a minute to talk a little bit about PCS. So what are PCS? You may know this, you may not. But PCS are picture communication symbols, and that's what you see in all of our TD Snap page sets. So PCS are used worldwide to support communication and education, and they've been the leader in symbol supports for almost 40 years now. And they're used worldwide in a range of different languages and on multiple platforms. And they can be used as part of both light tech and high-tech AAC strategies. So to ensure that PCS supports everyone, we make sure that they follow this philosophy where we want them to be simple. The best symbols show the concept that they're conveying with the fewest number of elements. We want them to be appealing, so we want them to be visually appealing, but still simple. So they use thick borders, bright colors, and the characters have very expressive faces. We also want to make sure that the symbols represent you. So since 2020, PCS has expanded the diversity of age, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and gender expression of our symbols. The work is ongoing, and the cast of characters and commitment to inclusion continue to grow. So be sure to stay tuned in and keep up to date on the new PCS that we release. And lastly, we want them to be understandable. So we want them to immediately convey a meaning when they're viewed. If you have to spend a lot of time looking at the symbol, trying to figure out what it represents, then that it isn't really an effective visual support. So with the PCS, we have 3 different libraries. So we have the PCS, which includes thin line and classic symbols, and that's probably what you think of when you first think of symbols or PCS. And that includes the egghead kind of classic symbols. And then next we have high contrast symbols, which are symbols designed to support individuals with visual impairment. And then lastly, we also have in context symbols as well. And there are now over 80,000 PCS symbols created. And in the most recent release of TD Snap, which happened in October, we have new PCS and 486 related to sensory items, diagnosis, athletics, characteristics, objectives, and country flags. So here's just a couple examples of our latest symbols. And then some of our latest high contrast symbols as well. In the most recent TD Snap update as well, we have a new symbol editor. Now this looks quite scary. There's so many options, but it's really, really exciting and fantastic. So it allows you to customize the symbols in a way that wasn't previously possible. So now you can combine symbols, you can add images, you can adjust colors, including skin tone and hair color, rotate, resize, erase parts of symbols, and it's available for any type of button in TD Snap, including kind of general buttons that you see, the visual supports and books and photos. So I will show an example of just a couple of the functions of the editor now. So if I wanted to edit this About Me button, I may want to go in and I could remove the existing symbol, add an image. I do apologize, it's slightly cut off there. I can add a photo in from my device. I've got a photo here that I want to add. I can move it around where I want it. And then I can choose from symbol library, do a search. So for example, one of my favorite hobbies is sailing. So I could add that in, add a symbol for that. Move it where I want it to be. Then I could add another symbol. So I'm just searching for another symbol here. I'm going to add in a Canadian flag. There we go. So now I've added my symbols, and now I really want my boat to actually have a pink hull. So I'm going to go in, change the color that I want, and then select where I want that color to go. So now all of a sudden I have a very, very individualized button. So when using TD Snap Express, if a communicator is ready to learn more and expand their language, you can add a link to a core word-based page set from TD Snap Express. So for example, you could link to core first or motor plan, and that's what we recommend so that the user is exposed to extensive core words as well for continued learning and modeling. And so the other symbol-based page sets that we have, and this may vary depending on the language that you are using. So we have core first here on the left, and then we also have motor plan. And then this is just what it looks like when I have created the link to link between, in this example, I'm linking between TD Snap Express in English and Motor Plan 40 in English. So you can see I'm going into my dashboard where I've added a button. Now I'm in Motor Plan. Can go to the dashboard where I've added a button. And now I'm back in Express. So you can see how fast that is to be able to switch between those two page sets. The other reason you might want to switch between different page sets is if you are supporting someone who communicates in different languages. So for example, they could be using TD Snap Express in English and TD Snap Express in Welsh, or they could be using Core First in French and Express in German, for example. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in this example, and notice that the voice will change automatically when the language of the button changes. And that's because of the language specific voice settings in TD Snap. So here's the example.
Good morning.
Now I'm going to go back home to my dashboard where I've added a button. Now I'm in Welsh.
Bore da.
And you can see that that's now speaking with the Welsh voice I've selected. If you go into your editing mode and to the user tab and scroll down a little bit, you can see that you've got your voice. So I set this up first in English. So I've got Harry as my speaking voice. And then you can see here that I have my voice selected for Welsh. So here you can see this table shows the languages where TD Snap Express is available. And you can see that there's a couple of different options here. So you can see in-app through Setup Wizard, which means that these are languages that are available within TD Snap. So if you were setting up a new user, you would kind of go through that process, choose your language, and then you would see the Express page set as an option. The other languages, so we've got Slovenian, Estonian, and Welsh. These page sets are available on Page Set Central, which is our online sharing platform. And so these ones are available. You would go there and you can download it and use it within and import it into TD Snap. And these page sets on Page Set Central, the localization into these languages has been supported by Tobii Dynavox. So you can be sure that this is a page set that we support. And just to kind of talk a little bit more about languages, so because of the organization of TD Snap Express, it doesn't rely on grammar and morphology in the same way that, for example, Core First and Motor Plan do. And this structure makes it easier to localize TD Snap Express, which means that we can provide it in languages we don't often maybe support in other vocabularies currently. So examples of this could be the Welsh page set and the Slovenian page set. And when we talk about localization, what that means is that it's adapting a page set to be available in a language. And that's not a direct translation. So that's not just popping everything in and translating things exactly. It's about making sure that, that the page set works in that language, that the buttons, the sentences, they all make sense, and that it's also culturally relevant for that language. So making all of those adjustments. And then I do want to mention that we do have more languages for TD Snap Express coming both in-app, so in TD Snap, and then also available on Page Set Central. And I want to mention that if you do have questions about languages or localizations or ideas of potential localizations for TD Snap Express, please do reach out to your regional Tobii Dynavox account manager or solutions consultant to discuss this further. So we've reached the end of my presentation about TD Snap Express, and I'd like to open it up for questions. If you have any questions about anything that I've covered, I also do have TD Snap here open. So if there's anything that I mentioned that you want to see, I can go into TD Snap and show you and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Dee. There's lots of chat going on in the chat. So there'll be definitely some things that we would love you to show. Can you show, some people already have TD Snap and are using Core First. Can you show them how they would then go about finding TD Express?
Absolutely. Oh, let's just try and do this. Okay, can you all see TD Snap now?
Yes.
Yay, great. Okay, so if I was in another page set, so what I'll do is, let's just go for example here. So say, for example, I have a user here and we have motor plan set up. I have kind of two options. If I want to add Express to the same user, let's just say I have a user set up in my name, so I'm setting it up for D, and I want to have both Express and motor plan and Core First in the same user. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to go into my editing mode. I'm going to go to the page set tab at the bottom because I want to add a page set. And you can see right now it tells me which page set I'm in at the moment. So I'm in motor plan 40. So if I tap here, now I have different options. You can see that in this example, I already have Express here because I set this up for Express. But if you just imagine I didn't, I would go to this Create Page Set button. And then you can see I'm going to get a big list of available page sets. And you can see I have English in the list here first. So if I did want to add Express in English, I would press this button. I can keep going. So let's just say I want to add Express in English for Australia. I would go here, add here. And then it's going to ask me to name the page set because I already have an Express. So just pop that there, press create. And then Express will show up in your list. And if I did want to switch to it, so I'll switch to the Australian one, for example. Now you can see that I'm in this one. So then I would just press done, and then that's sorted that. The other option that I can do is if I go into my user tab, I could go and right now I'm in my Express webinar user. I have a lot of users, but I could go new user and then get started. I could call it, name the new user, press the next button, go needs text with symbol supports, next, choose my access method. And then here on this main page, I'm going to have my choices that I can add. And so I would just choose Express. Press Next. I could choose Voice. Done. And there you go. Now you can see that I have added a new user.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
And so then we have, hopefully that answers that then. So we did have a question about changing grid sizes and keyboard sizes. So
Yeah.
Express has a single keyboard, or sorry, it has a single grid size, but there is a little bit more we can do.
Yes. So looking at different keyboard layouts.
Yeah.
So
The question was particularly sizes, but we can let's
yeah.
talk about which doesn't change, but let's talk about layouts. That would be great.
Okay. So when I'm going in here, you can see that right now my keyboard is set to this grid matching one, which is an ABC layout with the same size buttons. If I want to change what I want this keyboard to look like, I'm going to go into editing mode. I'm going to go to my page set tab at the bottom. And then I'm just going to switch back to my English one, actually. Here we go. There we go. So I'm going to go to page set tab, and then at the bottom here, you can see we've got keyboard page, and it says keyboard A to M grid matching. And this is where I can choose a different keyboard layout. So if I just tap here, now I'm going to just search the word keyboard, and it's going to give me my different options. So if I did want a QWERTY keyboard, I would click on QWERTY. You can see now it says keyboard QWERTY, press done. And now when I press that keyboard button, it will instead be a QWERTY keyboard. Did that answer that question?
Yes, thank you very much. Obviously that not so useful if somebody's using key cards, because then it won't match at that point. And Dee, I think you did do it, but I think it'd be great again if you could just show how someone could replace a symbol with their own image, if possible.
Absolutely.
That came up, so.
So let's just say I'll go into my About Me. So let's just say I want to replace this "my name is" with my own picture. So if I go into editing mode, select the button I want to edit. Now I could type in here if I wanted to make this nice. So now it says my name is Dee, but maybe I don't want this kind of generic name symbol. I could click on this photo button, and then I could choose to either take a picture with my device right now, or I could go from photo library, which I am going to do. And then I'm going to add the photo I want to have. And then now that's there. I could press done. And now I have a photo on the button.
Great. I think that's it. I think it's really important to kind of reiterate that it is another Snap vocabulary. So all the editing features that you kind of got used to or knew through the other vocabularies, they're all available in here too.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Editing should look exactly the same.
so Dee, another question, could you show how to link another page set from for example, Motorplan into the dashboard?
Absolutely, let's do it. So I'm going to go into, I usually put things like this in the dashboard, but you can put the button anywhere, but in here. So you can see that these are my examples, but what I'll do is I'll delete it just so that we can go through it together. So I'm just going to delete this button. So go into edit, delete it. Now I'm going to add a button. So if I want to link to Motor Plan 40, I am going to create my button. So actually, let's back up a step. I'm going to delete this. Okay. First thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to add the other page that I want to link to the same user. Okay. So if I go into editing mode and go to my page set tab, I need to make sure I've added it as a page set. So let's, for this example, add core first. So I don't have core first in this user. So I'm going to create page set core first. next, create. And that's all I have to do for this step. Now I can go back to creating my button. So I'm going to create a button. I'm going to call it for first. And then I could find a symbol. Great. So I've created a button that says core first. But right now, the action for this button is speak or insert message, but I don't want it to say core first. I want it to go to core first. I'm going to delete this action. And then I'm going to press this add action because we want the button to do something different. And then you could scroll through the list of actions, but my little trick is to search. And I know I want to do something with a page set, so I'm going to type page set, and I want this switch page set action. I'm going to press switch page set. Then it's going to ask me which page set do I want to switch to. Because I've already added these ones here, they are what's going to show up. So I'm going to press core first, and that's that. Now I can press done, and I have my button. If I press this button, it's now going to take me to core first. Obviously, once I'm in core first, I need a way to get back to Express. So let's say I'll put it in the dashboard again. So I'll go to dashboard, edit mode, create a button, call it Express. That's fine. I'll delete the existing action, add an action, search page set, switch page set, and we want to go back to Express English. Press done. And now when I press that button, I come back to my Express page set.
That's always the key part, remembering to set a button to go back to the other vocabulary. Random times people get stuck. Great. So then a comment from Kaveh, is it possible or recommended that users who are using something like Core First or Motorpan page sets at schools could use TD Snap Express Welsh at home as well? And what would be the easiest way to do that? So that exactly covers just what Dee was showing there to the T. We do have a lot of people who are multilingual, maybe use another language at home, and Express is great for that because it's that quick communication, quick and efficient communication to kind of core vocabulary to get them going. So yeah, absolutely. Vicky has asked, how do I edit the boards, etc., from my computer rather than doing it on the iPad?
Okay, so this might be a bit difficult to show because I don't have two devices to really show it on in a webinar setting, but I will try my best to explain. So the first step is that you'll need to download TD Snap for your laptop. So if you do just a Google search for TD Snap download, you'll find my Tobii Dynavox link. And when you go in there, it will say download for iPad or download for Windows. And you would go ahead with the Windows download. And then what's going to happen is that will look just like it does on the iPad. It won't have speech output, but that's fine because you don't need that for editing. And what's really important is that you are going to be using the syncing using my Tobii Dynavox. So for your user that you're supporting on an iPad-based system, you're going to make sure that they have a My Tobii Dynavox account. If not, they will need to create one, which is free to do. So once they have an account, they would then sign in on TD Snap on their iPad. And so to do that, there's this cloud button at the top, which I'm pressing now, which I am signed into my Tobii Dynavox account. But if I wasn't, it would say enter the email and password. Then you get this option here. This sync button is really important because that backs up the page set. So that backs up any changes that you've made. So everyone should have a My Tobii Dynavox account and be pressing their sync button. So that's my little side note on that. But if I wanted to edit, say, for example, someone that I was supporting on my laptop, on the iPad, I would want to press this share to let others use and edit this page set. Then I would type in the email address of the person that person's my Tobii Dynavox account I wanted to share with. So I would type in, for example, my Tobii Dynavox account and press share. Then what you would do on your end is make sure that you're logged into your My Tobii Dynavox account on your laptop. And then you would go to this download synced page sets. And then it would load up the one that has been shared with you. And then you can edit it on your laptop and press sync. And then those changes will then be synced to the iPad. And I am hoping that Shona or Sandra can put instructions for resources for syncing and sharing in the chat, because it's one of those things that's difficult to share in a webinar setting.
Good description though. Well done, Dee. Absolutely, that covers the next question as well, which is how to accessing someone a customer's iPad account to be able to do that. So same thing, you would use your sync options. Another question from a mum with a 7-year-old who is looking which snap version to get started. TD Express would be a great place to get going. There's lots and lots of videos and resources on our YouTube channels and on our web pages with tips and tricks and guides to kind of get you going. And your local account manager would be happy to help as well. So if you want to send us a private message, we can help you and guide you in the right way. So let's have a look and see if we've got any other questions. Yep, the link for syncing has been popped up there.
Great.
So great. Any other questions from anybody? Thank you everyone for joining today. And if you've got any other questions, please feel free to send them our way. But if not, thank you very much all, and we will see you at the next session.
Thank you so much, everyone.